Hello noobs!
Hello there!
Today we're going to go over a build that will give you the skills of an Asian. Now a lot of people have been asking for it, so being the morally righteous person that I am, I thought I'd share. Now let's look at those sets. Starting with the Mythic, you can use either Oaken Soul or Wild Hunt. If you don't have Oaken Soul because you'd rather spend $50 on a gallon of gas instead, don't worry. I'll cover both versions of this build as we go. Our 5-piece set is Calarians, only used by the best players, obviously. Now I know some people are gonna say, but Asian, they're gonna nerf Calarian and Oaken Soul to the ground. How am I ever gonna get good?
Come on, man!
Just swap Calarian out with your favorite proc set. For me, that would be Red Mountain and maybe even Flame Blossom. As for Oaken Soul, if you don't already have it, I would just stick with the Wild Hunt version. The next proc set is Selene's, which hits hard like Man Bear Pig.
It is half man, half bear, and half pig.
That leaves us with 4 slots, which we'll fill in with Witch Knight. According to my calculations, the 4th piece gives us 387 extra damage, the perfect set for gankers. And finally, if you're using Wild Hunt, we're going to use the Vadatron 2-hand Greatsword on the back bar, giving us 300 extra weapon damage and another proc. So if you can't afford to pay to win,
Bloody peasant!
Don't worry, you're not missing out. Both versions of this build take no skill to play. Speaking of skills, because we have 3 proc sets, you could probably play without using any abilities, but I'll go over them anyways, starting with the 1-bar version. Our first skill is Surprise Attack, which isn't surprising to anyone here.
Surprise, motherfucker!
This will hit even harder next update, according to the Natch Poets. Concealed is just as good, and might actually be better for ganking if they buff it. The second skill is Whirling Blades, or as I like to call, Spin to Win. And believe me, you'll be doing a lot of spinning and winning. The next 2 skills depend on what version of this build you're running. The 3rd skill is either Healthy Offering if you're using Oaken Soul, or Camo Hunter if you're using Wild Hunt. 4th skill is either Race Against Time if you're using Oaken Soul, or Merciless Resolve if you're using Wild Hunt. I love Merciless because you can literally one-shot people with it. However, if you're running Oaken Soul, I prefer Race Against Time because it just offers a lot in a small package.
That's what she said!
And finally, the best skill of all time, Cloak. I did a lot of hiding when I was a kid, so it's natural this would be my favorite skill. Alright, enough messing around, let's get serious.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious, and don't call me Shirley.
Now we're going to take a look at the Backbar Skills for the Wild Hunt version. That's actually the version we're watching now. If you want to see some more gameplay, check out my previous videos.
Just do it!
After watching this one, of course. The first skill on the Backbar is Shade, one of my favorite troll skills. Second is Leeching Strikes for the extra regen. You can use Meditate here too, but I thought it was annoying because it takes you out of stealth and you can't move. Our 3rd skill is either Healthy Offering or Vigor. I like Healthy Offering because you can spam it, but Vigor is probably better because we can pop it right before Cloak. And now that Cloak doesn't suppress dots, it helps counter damage over time while invisible. Our 4th skill is Rally. I like it because you can use the heal while invisible. And finally, Race Against Time, my favorite buff skill. For the ultimate, we're using Undo, for the 5% damage mitigation, and Buggy Escape tool.
60% of the time, it works every time.
Now, I'll show you how I divide the sets, but it might look a little weird.
Don't judge me, monkey.
This setup puts us at 6 medium and 1 light armor piece with Calarian, but if you're running Red Mountain, you should get 7 medium. I like medium armor because the passives increase our damage, and it boosts the damage of our proc sets too, because they scale off of damage. For Witch Knight, I'm using all body pieces, so we can have as much medium armor as possible. You also want Selene's in medium. Then we'll fill in the rest with Calarian or Red Mountain. I do 2 swords, 2 jewelry, and a belt. You can do maces if you want. I just like swords because they increase our weapon damage, which means they increase the damage of our proc sets too. But if you're Asian, it doesn't really matter. You'll succeed no matter what. As for the traits, it depends on what mythic you use. For the jewelry, if you're running Oaken Soul, go all Swift, or all Infused if you're using Wild Hunt. Our armor traits are all well fitted, so we can spam roll dodge if we're in a pickle.
I'm Pickle Rick!
You can do Divines too, for slightly extra damage, but I get more value from well fitted. For the weapons, my swords are both sharpened. I went with sharpened to get a little extra penetration.
Full penetration.
But having one Nirnhone sword might be better since it will increase the damage of our proc sets too. For the enchantments, I'm using Shock and Disease on the swords for the instant proc damage, and also some sweet status effects. For the armor, I just go all stamina because I'm not scared. And finally for the jewelry, you want to enchant all 3 with increased weapon damage. Okay, let's look at our champion points really quick. For the blue tree, we're going for as much power as possible. I went with Fighting Finesse, Master at Arms, Deadly Aim, and Backstabber. You can swap Backstabber out with another one like Wrathful Strikes, but I found Backstabber was better for killing tanky potatoes.
Potatoes!
For the red tree, the focus should be on speed and regen. I went with Rejuvenation, Celerity, Bloody Renewal, and Siphoning Spells. Those last 2 are a game changer for this build, but only if you can kill quickly. I already love killing noobs, but now I actually have a reason to, because with these CP, every kill is like a free tripod. For the green CP, it doesn't really matter, but what I found best is War Mount, Steed's Blessing, Gifted Rider, and Sustaining Shadows. Now we're going to look at some of the stats, in case you're into that sort of thing.
Okay.
For crit damage, we're sitting at 133% with Oaken Soul, and 113% with Wild Hunt. Fully buffed without continuous, our weapon damage comes out to be 6208 with Oaken Soul, and 5620 with Wild Hunt. That's pretty good considering all of our proc sets.
Wow!
Keep in mind, the Wild Hunt version can get an extra 600 damage from the Vatishran 2-hand and Merciless Resolve. Our stamina and magic regen is 1876 and 1632 with Oaken Soul, and 1449 and 1876 with Wild Hunt. And finally, all points should be in stamina. For food, I like the fishy drink for maximum regen. But if you're not that hardcore, then Jews of Misrule is a great alternative. For the Mundus, I went with the Shadow so we can hit the crit damage cap. I'm also a stage 2 vampire for the extra damage out of stealth. This gives us as much damage as Hundings. You can go stage 3 for having issues surviving. I prefer stage 2 for the sustain. The best thing about this build is that you'll make a lot of friends. But some people think I'm a pussy for playing like this.
My pussy's gone crazy!
I assure you, I'm not. My mom even told me so.
I love my mama very much. Now you know that.
With this build, if you're a good player, or Asian, you can easily 1vx too. And in case you're wondering, even though our proc sets have a delay, they end up landing most of the time because we stun our opponent with our first attack. Most noobs I gank are too slow to break free, and Man Bear Pig ends up getting the killing blow. Of course, good players can sometimes react fast enough, but I usually don't go for them anyways. If there's anything else I missed, or if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. I have no life, so I can answer all the questions. So if you want to play the hardest hitting build while you can before it's nerfed, go with the first version. But if you want a build that will last another update or 2, go with the second version. Either way, this build still takes no skill to play.
I don't even have any good skills.
For more builds and PvP gameplay, check out these playlists. and I'll see you next time.